Hi people, how you all doing? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be looking at Jordan Peterson completely destroys feminist narrative. Okay, I want to get into this, okay, because as I said in one of my previous videos, I'm like, the whole concept of feminism really is lost in this new generation feminism. Okay, I'm not against feminism, I am not pro feminism, I'm just in the middle, okay? Whatever that means. But I have an issue with this new generation feminists because it's like they try to like redefine the whole thing. Okay, so I would love to get into this from Jordan Peterson, and first I'm going to be getting into this. Super excited, and with that being said, let us just hop right into the video.
So that's my idea of the patriarchy, which is a system of male dominance of society.
Yeah, but that's not my sense of the patriarchy.
So what's yours?
Well, in what sense is our society male dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labour.
Very tiny proportion of men, and a huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. It's like, where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society. There's nothing about that that's vaguely appropriate.
But I could say equally well that most rape victims are women. You know, terrible things happen to people of both sexes.
And you could say that with perfect utility, but that doesn't provide any evidence for the existence of a male-dominated patriarchy. Well, it just means that terrible things happen to both genders, which they certainly do.
But there are almost no women who rape men, for example. So that is an asymmetry there in sexual violence.
Well, yes, there's an asymmetry in all sorts of places, but that doesn't mean that Western culture is a male-dominated patriarchy. The fact that there are asymmetries has nothing to do with your basic argument.
No, but you might
This is a trope that people just accept. Western society is a male-dominated patriarchy. It's like, no, it's not. That's not true. And even if it has a patriarchal structure to some degree, the fundamental basis of that structure is not power; it's competence. That's why our society works. It's only when a structure degenerates into tyranny that the fundamental relationships between people become dependent on power. It's not power. If you hire a plumber who's likely to be male, it's not because there's roving bands of tyrannical plumbers forcing you to make that choice. And it's the case with almost every interaction that you have at the face of our culture. You're dealing with people who are offering a service of one form or another, who are usually part of the broad middle class, and what you're looking for is the person who can offer the best service, and you can find it. It's not a consequence of being dominated by anything that's tyrannical. And then again, our culture, our Western culture, which is by no means perfect, and certainly has tyrannical elements like all cultures do, is the least tyrannical society that's ever been produced, and certainly the least tyrannical society that exists now. This whole patriarchy thing, I think you have no idea how pernicious and dangerous it is.
Well, no, I don't. I really don't. Go on.
Throughout history have fundamentally cooperated to push back against the absolute catastrophe of existence. A terrible death rate, the probability of chronic starvation, early death, disease, the difficulty of raising children with all the death that was associated with that. And to look backwards in time and say, well, basically what happened was men took the upper hand and persecuted women in this tyrannical patriarchy. It's an absolutely dreadful misreading of history. It's a terrible thing to teach young women, and it's a horrible thing to inflict upon men.
Okay. So, one point is gonna go to the interviewer. I think this is the first, if I'm not wrong, but if I'm wrong, trust me, like there's a hint of accuracy in that, right? I think it's the first interviewer who is talking about, like, you know, male dominance, that that actually wanted to have a healthy conversation, a healthy debate, because you can clearly see her listening. Okay, She's throwing out her questions, she's throwing out her counter opinions, she's also giving her facts when it's her turn to speak. Because honestly, there's interviewers who get really, I don't know, who gets really agitated when they are losing, and then they decide to, you know, try to intimidate the person who is on the seat and try to speak over them. It really irritates me. Okay, so seeing how calm and how respectful this conversation was, I have to give her a thumbs up. Okay, now I mean I definitely get where her question is coming from, because I'm not gonna sit here and just, you know, say that, oh, I'm totally different from every other woman. There are times when I look at certain things and I'm just like, men are dominating in this dance. Okay, so I'm not gonna come here and say, oh, men are dominating in success, okay? No. But then I actually just think about this. I actually thought about this a couple days back. I was like, most of the time when there's a crime up on TV or when there's a crime around me, it's like 8 out of 10 it's males who are committing these crimes. So I mean, with my exposure, I could come out and argue that men are the issue of the social security. Like, men are the issue when it comes to like security in the society. It's gonna be an argument. Doesn't mean that my statistics are right or that I know much about what I'm talking about, but I'm going to be talking about like my experience, if you guys get what I mean. Okay, so I obviously can understand where she's coming from. I don't think that she should limit it to just one, what am I going to call it? It shouldn't be limited, basically, because men dominate in certain things and women dominate in certain things as well. But since we're talking about male, okay, yeah, men dominate in so much more than just the financial aspects of anything. Right now, there was something she said that I was sort of like expecting him to touch on. No, she's saying that very rare women rape men. 4 years ago, I used to think that was a thing. I used to think that there literally is no man who has been sexually assaulted by a woman. But I have done research. I have met people who have, I have met men who have things contrary to say. Yes, that activity seems to be mainly done by the male, which is bad, but a good number of women have assaulted men. And it's really sad that, you know, that is what is written in the statistics. And so that just means that even if it happens, or rather when it does happen, I doubt like the consequences are given equally for the same crime. Crime is crime, people. Crime is crime. I wasn't necessarily expecting him to touch on that, but he didn't. But I just want to touch on that because I know that much and it's really sad. So anyways, we did get into this. I would love to know what you all think about this down in the comment box. Please do share your opinion, your thoughts, and all that good stuff with me. I'm really gonna appreciate it. But upon to the very next one, people, let's keep on staying safe and healthy, and bye.